And we are live.
Yo, yo, yo.
Oh, what up? What up? Got the homies alone. They've got it.
We are back.
We are back, man. We are
Episode
back.
7. We are so back. Episode 7, we're going to recap week 7. You guys kind of know the drill by now. Kind of start things off here. I liked what Devin said the other day. The witching hour has arrived. I think that was in lieu of the running back curse that I just happened to keep going with, dude. Breece Hall going down with a torn ACL.
That was nuts, man. And like I had even texted you just before that happened. Him just
Like-
blowing up, having a great game.
Like, he got tackled as we were texting in that
Yeah, it
weird
was
way.
nuts.
No.
Man,
And
that just
then-
sucks for him, man. I just feel so bad.
I
Having
know.
a good year, and I'm gonna flip that off.
I think that really sucks for him, too. He'll be able to come back strong next year, but, man, he was tearing it up. And he was about to go off that game, I think, too, against
Yeah.
a pretty good Denver defense.
Yep,
Um,
I think so too.
The other thing about the witching hour, how it sort of worked out, I traded ETN to Devin. His stock just went up. I traded James Robinson to Robert last week, and a James Robinson and Keenan Allen for Amari Cooper trade. I've been wanting to get him. James Robinson gets moved to the Jets, where he's going to probably take that role that Breece Hall had. So I cannot win, man.
2 weeks ago, you would have still had the starting running back for the Jets still even after the injury, and somebody who just got a big old bump, and an ETN.
Yeah.
Man,
So
that sucks, man. I'm sorry.
hey,
You've got the best team with the worst luck like that I've ever seen.
yeah.
All these years of fantasy.
Devin said it the other day. He said, "You could write a book about your fantasy league." You really could.
You could do a whole podcast on it.
Yeah. We're not going to talk about the Colts and Broncos. I'm over them.
No, yeah, because I've been talking about them for a while. Except Matt Ryan's gone. Not that he's fantasy relevant, but
Something worth mentioning, though. Yeah, maybe
R.I.P.
Andrew steps
R.I.P.
in.
Matt Ryan.
Yeah, no. RIP, Matt Ryan. Lee got a break from Jalen Hurts and Josh Allen this week. That was probably a nice breath of fresh air for everybody in the NFL. I know it was not for me and my fantasy team, but
Yeah.
we had perfect predictions last week in week 7. We both went 4-0. That was pretty cool. Obviously, we picked the same teams for both of us to go 4-0, but
Yeah.
kind of already touched on the trade alert, the Amari Cooper for James Robinson and Keenan Allen. That was made last week, just before the beginning, or just before the weekend, between Robert and I. James Robinson to the Jets. Talked about that. I think he's gonna. He wasn't getting that much work in Jacksonville. I think he's just gonna pick it right back up in New York. I think Michael Carter will be the passing back. He's gonna get a lot of work, but James Robinson, I think he just went to a floor of maybe like 15 kind of guy.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. And I mean, it's somebody I've always liked. A little bias, fantasy bias when somebody does well for your team. In a previous year, you always kind of favor them moving forward, and he helped me win, the league a few years back. So, big fan, James Robinson, what he does on the field too.
Yeah. We got a little bit of change of pace for us this week too. We got a guest coming in. The league number 1. Also, who just changed his name, Sir Mix-a-Lot Mario, joining us this week.
He's mixing it up, man.
What up?
What up, Mario?
Mixing
Yo.
it up. Perfect timing as we're getting into the winners of the week. Mario, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, man? How are you sitting up at the top right now?
Most would say maybe I'm getting, a little lucky. I'm not putting up the numbers, which is true. I'm not. Logan, our game was pretty close. Probably the closest game of the season, man. That was a wreck.
That's one of the closest games I've ever had. Period.
Yeah, same here.
One of the closest I've ever seen, for sure.
Yeah. But, I'm getting those games out of the way. I feel like my team's about to pop off and start, stomping on people's throats like Sean did last week. That was pretty epic. I need those numbers, but they're yet to come. They're yet to come.
Cool.
Sean's been commenting a lot on your defensive play. He said you just got the best defense in the league.
That's what it is.
And I had mentioned that you did draft the first defense this year in the league. Maybe you're onto something there.
Yeah, I don't know. I was thinking Shaquille was going to be there big time. Colts have been struggling, but they've made things happen for me, and what can I say? A win's a win.
It's worked out. You've kept your fantasy opponents to lesser scores than you.
Yeah. I probably have one of the less points for and the points against me in the league, and I'm sitting at number 1. So,
yep, I think you do. Let me see. Yeah, you do have the lowest points for. I've only got you beat by about 7 points there, 7 or 8 points. But I mean, that's different. That's 1-6 and 6-1.
Yeah. Hey.
This is it's showing right there on the screen. He's got the least amount of points for and the least amount of points against. That's nuts.
Yeah,
it is.
How does that happen?
It
Wow.
is. It's
That's
wild.
just good defense, man. Good defense.
Defense wins championships, baby. Defense wins championships.
It's true.
All right, so we'll get into the winners of this week. From last week, the Grilling Dad game of the week was Mommy Chasers versus Wilson. Bob came up with a big win right there over myself, winning 140-110. It looked like it was going to be close early on, and then Rob's team just kind of ran away with it during the second half of Sunday. So it wasn't much of a game, really. Nobody really could have done much different. The only notable thing
I thought it would be closer than that. But.
Yeah, I did too. The only notable thing from that was Mark Andrews having a dud of a day. But that was
huge. That was huge for you, man. That was.
I don't think it. I wouldn't have won even if he had 20 points, but still, that sucked. Catalina Wine Mixon, who is now switched her name to Sir Mix-a-Lot, got a win over the Goats, 125-112. That was a close game. Damon had a couple of situations happen. Amon-Ra St. Brown going down early in the game with that concussion, and then
his defense. You guys were talking about defense earlier. His defense was scaring me there for a minute.
Yes, he's got a and what's funny is he gets to put the Bills right back in it. He's always had the number 1 D there.
For sure.
I will say one thing though, with you switching your name, are you not nervous, Sir Mix-a-Lot?
When I was playing against the Goats, I said, if I win, I want to change my name. I really like this Sir Mix-a-Lot. I'm still ripping the Mixon vibe.
Yep.
I think it's time. I'm turning a new leaf. Like I said, I want my team to start going off.
Okay.
I got to put up them numbers and prove I am that number 1 spot.
Like the Ravens, so they were defense for a long time, and now they're all offense, and they don't have a defense. So get ready. You're gonna have to put up some points.
I've been talking to my boys, and they're ready. They're ready to show out.
All right.
Florida Sunshines, high scorer this week, defeating Alavi another 166-133. JR's wide receivers finally stepped back up, and he didn't even have Cooper Kupp in his lineup.
You gotta say no cup.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, no problem. Not when
Kupp
both your
running.
running backs just continue to pop off like that.
Yes. Yep.
For a team that I hated on for having good receivers and didn't like his running backs are showing up.
It's all of a sudden game changing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've offered him a nice little trade. I don't know if he's seen it yet, but it's pretty juicy. I don't know if I'll do it, but it's nice and juicy. It's for a couple players that he's been asking about. So we'll see. I've been throwing a couple of trades out there for Mark Andrews.
Yeah.
Like I said, if I'm going to trade him, I want a number 1 out of it. So I just kind of wanted – the reason I was doing it was like, this is where I'm setting – like you're gonna offer me a trade, it needs to be like these players involved. Sort of. I went to offer you two actually a couple of different trades, and I just couldn't find one.
Yeah.
I couldn't find one really that you guys would like, but I was like, one was Nick Chubb. Another one, I think Vic and Mario. Yours was Derrick Henry. There was a couple of them, but anyway,
it's gonna be hard to get rid of.
What's that?
Both of those guys he just named are going to be hard to get rid of.
Absolutely, yeah. No, I and so is Mark Andrews. It's just kind of trying to sell a tight end. I'm not winning with him.
Yep.
Just maybe try to go somewhere else. And I did see that I still have a 5% chance of making the playoffs. So
you're not.
I'm
Hey,
not out.
it's not over till it's over.
I'm not out yet.
Yeah, my math was off then. There we go.
Yeah, you can see it actually, Sean, if you go to league standings. Yeah, if you go to league standings, and I think it's like all the way over to the right, it'll say like playoff percentage. Yeah.
Nice.
So that's kind of useful. It's fun to look at.
Yep. 94%, Mario. 94%.
Just don't get those shades of Drake from a few years ago, man.
Hey.
He started 6-0, didn't make the playoffs. And look what's happened now. Come on.
I wonder if Drake has any feelings of that coming back after that big loss that he just suffered to you.
He would have to, I feel like he stayed pretty humble throughout this whole thing, winning them big games and, having being second. Haven't heard much from Drake. So he's probably staying a little quiet. You didn't want to, spook himself there.
He's got to make it though. He's got to do something.
And then, that's we just kind of mentioned it. Sean Scary Pitts defeated Logan's mom 159-96. Pretty big.
Talk about defense and offense.
Offense.
I look like the Buffalo Bills.
Perfect game. Joe Burrow just lit it up, man.
It's 2 weeks in a row that he's had monstrous games.
He's actually moved up to number 3, I believe, in our Who's Who as well. Jalen Hurts obviously going sitting out with a bye, so that helped Burrow move up to the number 3 spot. But I think he's averaging just as many points as Hurts is now too.
And although we're not there yet, number 2 quarterback on my team, Trevor Lawrence, since making the trade for him and getting rid of Stafford, we've seen nothing but Stafford bombing and T-Law showing up.
Yeah, you must have a good quarterback coach over there, huh?
Yeah, sure.
In West Virginia.
That's what I've been doing.
Right, yeah. You got rid of Lamar. He's been doing mediocre at best.
Uh-huh. Yeah, and when he was there, he was going off.
Dude.
That's funny. Anybody see any bad beats?
Couple. This is a bad beat was definitely Sean and Drake. Sean beat Drake bad. That was not good. that was not good. He definitely was quiet after that one.
Yeah, we didn't hear much out of that or after that. I like that. That's really funny. I did have Damon written down for a bad beat just from the he just lost by 13 in a low-scoring game, and then he only really had like 5 points from Leonard Fournette, who was in our Who's Who.
Yep.
And Amon-Ra St. Brown, who we mentioned earlier, had gone down with a concussion early in the game. So
yeah, and he had Dalvin Cook on a bye. That was I'm glad I played him then. It
was a good. He also had Dallas Goedert and AJ Brown on a bye too.
Yeah.
Listen, people are going to get injured. People are just not going to show up when you play a really good defense like Sir Mix-a-Lot. It's just what happens. Heavy hitters, man.
Hey, we know when to shut them down.
If you can't fend off the blitz, you're not going to be able to do anything.
It would be fun to see if there was any correlation between players getting injured against a certain team.
Yeah.
And like any people playing against Mario's when their players get injured.
Right. Yeah, who's taking these people out the most is what we want to know.
Coach is putting bounties.
Yes.
Yeah. We will get. I want to talk a little bit about Damon's team whenever we get to the waiver wire pickup. I did notice that he took some advice from you, Sean, on his quarterbacks, but we'll get to that. in a little bit. Next up is the A&J Plug and Play of the Week. We've talked about it before. If you're looking for electrical work in Indiana, hit up the owner of Florida Sunshines, JR. Him and his buddy Austin run the electric company. Give them a call if you need anything. They'll hook you up. A&J Plug and Play is Travis Etienne Jr. from Olave Nother. Devin made that start. He had a lot of people on a bye, so he had to make a decision, and it obviously ended up panning out for him. I think he ended up with 18 points. Is that right?
18.9, yep.
Yep. I thought that was a good one. It's really the only one that I noticed that really stood out as a good plug anyway. Bad starts. Did you see any, Sean?
Really just the ones Mario mentioned, right? And they weren't necessarily like bad starts, like they shouldn't have done it. It just sucks when someone gets injured or they're just not putting up the points when, they usually do. But I didn't see anything that really stood out as far as.
I would say maybe I don't think it's a bad start either, but Christian McCaffrey, man, you never know how he's going to – he didn't do terrible, but, for Drake to start him like that, and then maybe that was one of the reasons he got that bad beat there.
And that's one of them that I was going to mention. And I looked at the team, like, would I have started, Edwards-Helaire over him, Chuba Hubbard over him? Like, for sure, no. On Hubbard, even though he had a better game, like it's all hindsight. And I don't know. I think I probably would have also ran with McCaffrey just because he's on the field.
It's like a 50-50 thing, you just never know.
But I did say that, in last week's episode that he wasn't going to play, and even if he did, like he probably wasn't going to get many touches. And
for sure. And that is how it panned out. He did end up with what does it say here? He ended up it was only 2 targets, so he didn't get much work at all.
Ooh, what about Robert with Matt Ryan? That's not a good start there.
That's not a good start.
It did not work out for him. I considered that one, but I was also in the mix for a quarterback last week trying to pick one up, and there just was not anybody there, and none of them even performed well. So, I think Jacoby Brissett and Taylor Heineke may have been the best one, scoring 14.
Yeah,
with that, but it did not turn out well for him. Mark Andrews, obviously, it's not a bad start. You're going to always start him, but
especially with the tight end situation, man, you ain't got many options.
Yeah, kind of like Sean mentioned, with those when those players don't score, it just sucks. It's just a bad feeling.
Sure,
nothing to get down about. But one thing that I had written down was Kyle Pitts for Devin. I don't think Kyle Pitts has any business starting in an 8-man league.
I mean, I dropped him already once.
And I know Higbee was on a bye, but I think
Freiermuth, right? Freiermuth was available at the time. He could have picked him up and played him, and he had a good week.
Yeah.
And
I didn't like Kyle Pitts.
Freiermuth is no longer available, though, just in case.
You scooped him back up, correct?
I did.
That's what I thought.
I did.
Good pick back up.
That was a defensive play right there.
Yeah. But yeah, there were many other tight ends that I think could have been picked. Like I said, I just don't think Kyle Pitts is worthy of a start here, honestly. But
I don't think he deserves a roster spot.
No, I'd certainly drop him now.
Maybe a bye week fill in, like maybe, but
and that's what he was. But
yeah.
Sorry, I didn't like that one. He did outscore Mark Andrews. I'll say that. So, power to Devin on that. Power rankings. I'll go through mine first. I've got the GOATs at number 1 still. Scary Pitts. Sean has moved up to the 2 spot. I got Logan's Mom at 3. Florida Sunshines at 4. Sir Mix-a-Lot's just what he's like. Where am I at? What am I again? 6-1. I've got you at 5, Mario. I've got Olave Nother at 6. Monty Chasers at 7, and me bringing the anchor still at 8.
Hey, I like that.
I like that you have me at number 2 and you have that confidence. I appreciate it. Mine looks a lot different. I have Mario at 1. I mean, he's won 4 in a row, 6-1 overall. Just those chances that he has to make the playoffs looks good. Then I've got Damon, Drake, JR, then me, then Devin, Robert, and Logan.
Yep. I don't have any problem with Mario being at the 1. The reason that he has, and I know like last week I actually had him at 4. Now he's jumped back to 5. JR's wide receivers going off and his running backs doing what they did. I feel like JR has a better team. Mario probably will end up in the playoffs based off of the way that he's gone 6-1. And there's some distance there. I just think that those other 4 teams are a little bit better. They score a little bit better on a week-to-week basis. So
sure.
It'll be fun to see who wins that the money of the best regular season record.
Oh, we're doing that this year?
yeah, every
Oh, I
year.
didn't know that.
Yeah, so Mario, you're playing. If you could play for $100, you basically win $100 if you win.
I'll win my
regular
money back.
season. You get $200, so you get your money back and $100.
Oh, okay.
So.
Like that.
So that is something to play for sure. And then anytime, I think anytime you make the playoffs, you have a chance to win. Like it doesn't matter if you're the 1 seed or the 4 seed. You've got just as good of a chance as anyone else. It's a brand new week. So
yeah, 100% agree.
If anything, maybe you got a better chance because maybe that team that's 1 and 2 has some guys that are going to get benched that week.
I was going to say players who aren't going to play or play as long, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mario, what about you? How about off the top of your head, what kind of power rankings would you put out there?
I would definitely have to go with Damon at number 1. His team's pretty solid. I got a little lucky there, but I'll take it. Number 2, Florida Sunshines. With Cooper Kupp in the mix, he's going to be going strong. I'm going to put myself at number 3. I'm going to keep on hanging on. Logan's mom, Drake, at number 4. Then I would put Sean. Then Devin. And then I'm going to have to go Robert. He did get that dub. And then, sorry, Logan, he had the bottom. But I feel like you'll make your way up there soon.
I hope so, man. I like the words of confidence. I want to do it. I agree, though. I'm down at the bottom. Until I can pull off some W's, it doesn't, nothing matters.
For sure.
For me. Waiver ads, notable injuries. A little bit about the injuries. We talked a little bit about them already with Damon losing Amon-Ra St. Brown to a concussion. He's already practicing.
Yeah. Not that serious then, hopefully. Yeah,
I don't think he's going to lose too much time. Breece Hall, obviously, torn ACL. He's going to be out for the year. DK Metcalf had a knee injury. They don't really know the extent of it yet, I don't think. Unless somebody else has an update on DK Metcalf. But
it looked like he's going to be out, and they're projecting Marquise Goodwin, who's home run hitter, can be out there and getting some more snaps.
Is that a DFS guy, Sean?
That is, yep.
Okay. We'll have to keep that in mind. I'm going to write that down right now so we don't forget about it, actually. Because he did look good last week. Who's the other one? So DK, David Njoku, sorry. He went down with an ankle injury. It looked pretty bad, too. I don't know what the prognosis is on it, but I did see a little O next to his name.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't look into that.
And he was doing very well. He actually just cracked our Who's Who this week, right before we went out.
Yep. And then as far as waiver ads, I mean, there were quite a few that looked pretty good on the waiver report.
It was a deep waiver report. Whenever I started going through it today, I was like, "Dang, everybody, chill."
Yep. Like we mentioned, I picked up Freiermuth again. That was just a defensive play. I didn't really need much else on my team right now. I just didn't want anyone else to have a good tight end. mommy chasers picking up Russell Wilson. Who knows?
Boo.
I was waiting for that.
Not only picking up, starting it, man. He's starting it against me. You know, the number one defense. What is it? What is he thinking there?
What's he thinking?
This one's
He
my
said
favorite.
he said he couldn't get any worse than Matt Ryan, right?
We'll
True.
see about that. Russell Wilson said, "Hold my beer."
You're right.
Yeah, my favorite waiver wire pickup this week was Sir Mix-a-Lot there picking up Brandon Ayuk.
Oh, I wasn't sure if I was going to get him.
him.
Yeah, I was a little skeptical, and I picked it up or turned it on the next day. I was like, dang, I actually got him.
Listen, with Jimmy G being back there, and now Christian McCaffrey being there, people stacking the box. Again, Jimmy G is not some like prolific QB, but he's got so much, experience playing with Brandon Ayuk and Debo and knowing how to get the ball to him.
For
I
sure.
just think that's a great pickup. And
And that's what I was thinking, when I was watching that game. He spread the ball around, but he was looking at Ayuk quite a bit, so
yeah,
can't go wrong there.
I thought Damon, something that I wanted to mention earlier. I mentioned earlier that I wanted to bring up. Damon dropped Aaron Rodgers and picked up Kirk Cousins. I think that is a great switch.
I do too.
I almost picked up Kirk Cousins
I would have.
this week. I wouldn't start him over Geno or Jalen Hurts, so I didn't really need to. But I did see that Robert dropped him into the bye, so I didn't. He wasn't appealing last week, but yeah, nothing. Damon picked up Michael Carter. I think he will. I don't know if we'll necessarily. He might have an uptick in usage these first couple weeks as James Robinson gets introduced to the offense, but I think eventually that'll kind of be a by committee thing where James Robinson ends up getting a lot of the goal line stuff.
Mm-hmm. Have you watched much Jets football this year?
I have, yeah, unfortunately.
I don't know that there will be that much of an issue with James Robinson plugging in, only because the plays that they run, they run the ball a lot. But
Yeah.
they seem pretty simplified. They're not running like a complicated type of offense. So
Yeah.
I think he'll be able to plug in pretty quickly. But yeah, the first week or two, Michael Carter's probably going to get some extra touches.
Yep. I think especially out of the backfield. He'll probably be targeted by Zach Wilson 10 times because the dude cannot throw the ball down the field.
I think
They
New
didn't have
York.
to add down the field there.
I think
The dude cannot throw the ball. Period. Dude looks cool, has a cool story off the field, but no, he's not very good.
Real cool headband.
He's a tamer Johnny Football.
Isn't he Mormon?
He went to BYU, so I would assume so, but I don't know for sure.
And we're making assumptions, and look at us.
Yep. We'll
Cancel.
find out. We'll find out if he gets married more than once.
Okay. And
Listen, sorry, we're not going down that route. But listen, if you're watching, sorry, I know you don't do that stuff anymore. Mormons don't.
did you say any more? Any more?
Yeah.
You don't do that anymore.
Any Mormon?
I don't do that anymore, man.
No.
That's good. I like it.
All right, we better move on before we get canceled.
Yeah.
To the who's who for this week. Josh Allen's sitting out a week and still is sitting at the number one overall quarterback. Pat Mahomes making a jump over Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson's had a couple of poor weeks, so he's fallen just a little bit. Joe Burrow making a jump. Sean, you mentioned that 2 weeks in a row where he's really gone off. I think that their offense might be back.
It looks like it is.
We might be seeing the Bengals offense and the one that we're going to see for the remainder of the year too.
Could they make another Super Bowl run?
Whenever I was watching them the other day, granted they were playing the Falcons, I kind of thought to myself they definitely could with that offense. it's high powered, man, and if you can score at will like that, like it's scary.
I don't know. It's really hard to say that they're going to be able to do that again.
Sure.
There's just too much talent there. Buffalo and Kansas City. I mean, I think that they're destined to meet up again as the mornings go.
I think that you're right that it's most likely going to be Kansas City and Buffalo playing each other in the AFC Championship. But I think that the Bengals are going to have to get beat by one of those two teams on their way there, probably in the round beforehand.
I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that they could make it, but that's going to be the test. I mean, those three teams right there are probably the three best overall teams. That might be pushing it for Cincinnati, but they're definitely still top five. But
in the AFC, are you talking about the AFC?
I would say they're top three in the AFC, but maybe all three of those are definitely top 4 or 5 in all the NFL.
Yeah. What about the Ravens? Now, I would consider the Ravens to be probably top 4 in the AFC.
Yeah, I like the Ravens a lot, and I love Lamar Jackson, Mark Andrews, Gus the Bus is back. But man,
He's
they
on my
can't
team.
stop
He's on my team.
anybody. Yeah, he is. But they
So
can't
he's
stop.
gonna get hurt.
That's how it works. That's how it works, man. We should probably go ahead and
Your team name should be Injured Reserve, bro.
Yeah, running back injured. RBIR.
It should be the running back Reaper.
Sorry, Sean. What were you saying though about the Ravens?
No, they just can't stop anybody on defense. Which it stinks, man, because they've been so good at defense for so long. I mean, Ray Lewis put a stamp, in the state of Maryland, said, the buck stops here. Nobody's going to run on us. And now anybody can run against them. Anybody can pass against them, especially if you've got speed on your team. I mean, their man-to-man defensive scheme just doesn't work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you might be onto something about that and about their defense. Past their team, though, what's left in the AFC, really? Like,
that's it. That's all that matters.
Yeah, those 4 teams kind of seem like the top.
Yep.
The top dogs. I guess you could maybe throw the Chargers in there as a dark horse.
They scare me a little bit. They're like the Colts. They can lose to anybody. They could beat anybody, but they could lose to anybody.
No, that's solid. Yeah, solid point.
Yeah, I mean,
they have enough firepower. They can beat anybody, but they have a good enough defense. They can slow people down. It's just can both sides of the ball play well in the same game?
Yeah, they're never on the same page.
Yep. Yeah, that is a good point. They should have lost to Denver a couple weeks ago. If Denver wasn't Denver.
Right.
Denver done Denver.
Yeah, and I think I'm onto it on my prediction there. I think the Broncos lose this week in London, and I think Hackett gets fired during our bye in Week 9.
Oh wow!
Well, listen, I'll say
sure they don't just bench Russell Wilson.
He didn't. He wasn't a part of the last game, and they looked just as bad. So
I'm just kidding.
I will say that Denver's won a lot less games since Russell Wilson said, "Let's ride." Maybe if he apologized,
he should have never said
that, they'll be good.
And his Subway commercials are weird too.
Oh my gosh, they're so bad.
I watch them just to laugh. Feel awkward.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to the who's who. Jalen Hurts is still in the top 5 after sitting out a week 2. It's something worth mentioning.
Yep.
Austin Eckler holding down the number 1 spot for the running backs. Barkley and Chubb.
He's killer.
Dude, he is. Every week he's scoring more and more points.
He's up there by a lot.
Yeah.
I think that anytime, like if you're just gonna, as far as DFS goes, and we'll get into that a little bit, but he's just a very easy play. If you're looking for a chalk position play, just play him. It's kind of to the point where like him and Travis Kelce are the easiest plays if you're trying to go chalk. Nick Chubb, though, yeah, Barkley and Chubb at 2 and 3 still. Josh Jacobs moving his way up. He was outside of the top 5 last week due to their bye week, but now he's moved to 4, and McCaffrey's moved back to 5 after that trade to San Fran and having not really a dud of the day, just trying to get him accustomed a little bit to the O.
Yep.
Wide receivers, a little bit of a change here. Not too much, though. Stephon Diggs and Cooper Kupp hanging after their bye weeks. Tyreek Hill sitting at 3. Jamar Chase finally got up in there. That's JR's wide receivers right there at 2,
Yeah,
3.
right here. Boom, boom, boom.
2, 3, and 4.
That's nuts.
Yep.
Yes. If they all go off, nobody's stopping him.
Nobody can. Yeah, they can all score 30 points.
Yeah. He's pushing 200 if that happens.
And he's done it. He's done it once before this year. Scoring
It'll definitely happen again too.
Yeah, scoring 211 in week 2. He'll probably do it against me here in a couple weeks again. That'll be the time. Let's see who else was in the top 5 there at wide receivers. Who's at 4 and 5? I can't quite remember. Justin Jefferson.
Right.
Justin Jefferson rounded it out at 5, I think, didn't he?
Last week. Or here, yeah. This week, Justin Jefferson's there.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, and that was even after a bye too.
Yeah. So 3 out of those 5 receivers hung tight in the who's who after the bye. Tight ends, not much of a change. Kelsey and Andrews at 1 and 2. Ertz sticking at 3, and Njoku moved into the who's who at 4. He's going to end up getting bumped eventually. I expect Dallas Goedert to make his way back in there after the bye week, especially with Njoku not playing. So
Taysom Hill will sneak in there.
What about Kittle, though? I think he's going to start moving on up, man.
Hey,
He had the most targets, most yards last week in San Francisco.
As far as these who's who go, they are stat based. I think that if they were re-ranked every week, George Kittle is a top 5 guy.
Yeah, he's having a little slow start to his comeback.
Yeah, and he sat out a few weeks, so that kind of kept him down too as far as season scores go.
Definitely glad I listened to Sean and played Kittle over Harris. That's key.
That's what happens when you listen to this podcast.
Yeah.
I
I should have just played Kittle in Hurts' spot, and would have been all right. Maybe put McLaurin in or something, but
yeah, but I mean, Ertz was a good play.
Yeah,
I thought he was anyway. It's
he's
kind of
on the
hard to
trade
take
block.
out.
Just so y'all know, he's on the trade block if y'all need him.
Okay.
And to all other fantasy ballers out there, trade block. Devin, I know you need a tight end.
Ooh. Heard you here first.
Here we
You might be
go.
interested in that.
He does. One of these as well that I was going to mention earlier. If you look at the points by average, you'll see a little guy down here. Is that Dulcich? Is that how you say
Yeah.
it?
For the Broncos?
Yeah. So I watched him. I just didn't know how to say his last name.
Dulcich, I think, is it.
Dulcich. I didn't know if it was Dulcich or Chich. Either way, like I was watching his highlights, he's getting the ball a lot. He's a free agent. So if you don't want to make a trade with Mario, just pick up this guy, drop somebody.
Yeah, I like that.
That way Mario has to trade with me and I get Ertz on my team.
Hey,
Devin has actually mentioned picking up him, the Broncos tight end. I think he mentioned it earlier this week.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he did.
Hold on, let me drop somebody. I don't have anybody to drop. I can drop Sam. I don't need him for a couple weeks.
Hell, I'll pick him up right now.
No, I got 3 tight ends now.
I can drop
I'm
him.
calling
You already pick
collusion
him up?
right now. Collusion. This is bull.
I got 3 tight ends. Let me know if you need one.
Wow, you really did go
Fire
pick him
sale.
up, huh? What
Fire
a dig.
sale.
What a dig.
Listen, it's a defensive play.
It
I
is.
don't want anybody else picking them up.
And okay, no, you don't play him this week. I was just saying, not to mention you play him.
No, I play a tough team this week, man.
Yep,
Who
you
you
got
got?
the Florida Sunshines.
Ooh.
It's going to be a tough one.
A trio.
Going to be a tough one. Whoa. Where'd I go here? All right. Do you got anything else to mention on the who's who there? Mario or Sean?
Nope.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I didn't really have any surprises there. So we'll get into a little bit of DFS lineup talk.
Let's go. Last week, if you played our lineup, you made money.
Tell us, Sean.
Maybe a lot, right? Maybe it just depends. But I mean, I went from 23 to 36. Those are numbers that aren't going to jump off and like change your life. But those are numbers, if you do that weekly, it just makes betting fun when you're winning. And the lineup did pretty good despite not everybody popping off. As an example, we played Matt Ryan. That ended up being a bad play. We played CeeDee Lamb, which had just a mediocre game. We played Robert Tonyan. We played Alec Pierce. But none of those hit. But all of our other players hit big time. We played Eckler, who was that chalk player you're saying. We played Josh Jacobs. He scored almost 40. We played
Josh Jacobs was crazy.
And we played Kenny. 3 running backs all scored over 30 points each.
Awesome.
When you do that, man, you're putting yourself in a position to win. Louis does not like that.
Somebody's at my door, and I'm about to tell them to come back. Especially knocking like that. They just knocked like they were the police.
What if it is the police?
Louis. Sean, go ahead. I'm going to have to tell these people to back off.
All right, I got you. Yeah, so for the DFS lineups, I think there's a couple different ways to go. We mentioned it earlier. DK may sit out, whether he does or not. Marquise Goodwin, he's able to step in there. He's more of a boomer bust type of guy, but if you're playing in tournaments, daily fantasy, he's the kind of guy that can win you some money. He dropped, almost 23 points last week. That's Marquise Goodwin, Logan.
Okay.
So that's one. He's $4,400 in that same game. They're playing against the Giants, which I know is pretty good this year. But Seattle's going to be throwing the ball because the Giants can score. On the other side, Seattle can't stop anybody.
Never can.
And they have a receiver there, Wan'Dale Robinson, who has looked really good this year. He wasn't on the injury report despite leaving early, but he's getting so many targets after coming back. He got 4 the first game, 3 catches, 37. He just got 8 targets this last game, and he's going to be part of their offense. And he's also, $4,700. So there's a lot of cheap options this week to play as far as wide receivers. Do you happen to know the over-unders this week like we usually do?
Yeah, I got a couple mentioned for the high over-unders. For the highest one listed is the Dolphins versus the Lions for 51.5. I don't know. As far as the Lions go, I think that Hockenson he could be a good play as far as tight ends go. He's obviously going to cost way less than what Andrews or Kelsey will be, but I just think that there's a couple other tight ends that you can start out there too that might cost a little bit less.
Kittle.
I'm not sure how much he costs.
So Kittle is the most expensive this week at $5,700.
Of course.
Yeah.
Hawkinson's down at $4,900.
Oh wow, that's
Dolphins. As far as Dolphins go, I think that the Dolphins could be a good stack this week against the Lions.
Yeah, for sure. And I think speaking of tight ends, Mike Gesicki is $3,800, and they were trying to force the ball to him.
Yes, they were.
I did see that too. Yeah.
So you could do a stack of Tua, Jalen Waddle, and Gesicki and have some spots open. The other one that I wanted to mention in the high over under was the Raiders and the Saints. They've got an over under of 49.5. I think that is a very intriguing game as far as DFS goes, because there are some cheap players on the Raiders and there are some cheap players on the Saints. Chris Olave being one of them that I actually wrote down for the wide receivers. I think he's only $6,000.
That's crazy. He is still only $6,000.
That is a lip-licking matchup against the Raiders.
Last week, he brought in 7 passes for 106 yards. All right. But that was on 14 targets.
Wow.
How is he only 6,000? That's like an automatic play.
Yeah, and like I said, it's a lip-licking matchup against the Raiders.
But I think you might have to go Josh Jacobs because, I mean, here's the running backs listed ahead of Jacobs this week. McCaffrey, Derrick Henry, Saquon, Jonathan Taylor, Dalvin Cook, and then Josh Jacobs at 7,500.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty good start too. And you're in a high over-under game.
And then right underneath him at 7,100 is Kamara.
You could start them both.
You could
if you wanted to spend up on your running backs in that case. The low over-unders, Colts versus the Commanders, 39.5. Either one of those defenses, I think, would be fun to play. I'd rather play the Commanders, I think. But also, Ellinger's kind of scary. You never know what he's going to do.
At the same time, it's a revenge game, right?
For who? I mean, because Wentz isn't playing.
But he'll be on the sideline. He's going to be rooting for his team.
It's true. And he did win I saw this thing. It said that the Commanders won the big quarterback carousel this year. You know, with all the quarterbacks moving around. Russell Wilson doesn't look good. Obviously, Matt Ryan, bench.
He has when he's on the field. He's looked real good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that with Sam at QB, not to get too far on the Colts, I think that just energizes the team and they'll move the ball more. So I think we'll see that. They'll probably have a little bit of a different scheme, which Matt Ryan sitting there, probably not even on the bench. He's probably not even going to show up to games. I mean, he's going to say, why didn't you run these plays with me?
Yeah.
So I think that they're going to go back to a similar style of offense that they had last year.
I hope so.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
I saw a thing where I think Pittman said, you know, they just need to trust us a little more, like as Matt Ryan and, you know, the coaches and stuff need to just trust us a little more. Let's get the ball down the field and let's go. That's how the Colts play, you know, like when we're in the fourth quarter and we're trying to come back and win, that's how they play. Just fucking throw the ball or get it down the field. And
they do play better fast.
Yeah.
It seems like. And maybe they pick that up and they just play faster with Sam.
Yeah, hope so.
Titans Texans is in another low scoring over under. The Titans have turned into a pretty good little defensive play. They probably cost a little bit, I would assume.
3,600.
Yeah, that's kind of that's a little out of our.
They're more than the Colts, or less than the Colts. The Colts are 37.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a little more than what we've been liking to spend. I mean, the Panthers have been treating us pretty good.
And they're 2,800. Who just runs the ball 40 times a game.
Yeah.
That's our play.
Yeah. Quarterbacks, I did list Jared Goff just because he's in the value pick range in that high over-under game. Geno is still 5,800. And then Daniel Jones is still pretty cheap. Yep. And he's playing the Seahawks. So if you want to match up with that Wan'Dale Robinson kind of situation that you were talking about.
Yep. So right now, if I took Wan'Dale Robinson out because we had too much money left over. Good problem to have. So right now we have Tua, Josh Jacobs, Alvin Kamara, Marquise Goodwin. Maybe that one's we switch out. Who knows? It depends if DK plays. Chris Olave, Jalen Waddle, Gesicki, Panthers D. We have $5,500 left over for our flex. Or we could play someone like Chuba Hubbard, Robert Woods.
Chuba Hubbard might not play this week, and Deontay Foreman is $5,300.
Right. Yep. That was the other pick. We have Antonio Gibson, Deontay Foreman, Curtis Samuel against the Colts. A lot of options. Rondale Moore, Ertz, Jeff Wilson. A lot of ways to go right there.
Yep. I did have Raheem Mostert also listed down for a running back. He's 5,900 though. He's been getting a lot of looks, and for that price, for a value pick, if you're just looking for somebody, and again matching into that high over/under game with the Dolphins and Lions. And then I also like Brandon Cooks at wide receiver. He's also 5,900, so he doesn't fit in that 55 mark that you need, but.
Okay.
Mario, do you ever mess with DFS?
I don't, man. I really want to, but I don't.
I'll tell you what, man. And there are, I think it would be fun, like for us to have somebody that starts playing it.
Yeah.
And they just kind of do it like, we just help them along the way, like start with $20.
Right.
And kind of go off of just kind of what we're doing. And pick pick people either, you don't have to pick people that we're picking,
right.
But maybe just learn some different strategies of it.
I was going to say, you get a little strategic. Yeah.
But it is fun, man. It's a fun way to play fantasy. It adds an element to every week, gives you something else to watch. And it gives me and Sean something to talk about sometimes too. So.
Now there's a certain money limit you start with, right? Is that the same for everybody, or?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So how that works is like you start with, what is it, like 50 or 60,000, and then each player costs so much money.
Right.
Yep.
I didn't know if you paid more money, you could buy better people, or if it was just the same across the board.
Yeah. Yeah. Just same across the board. And then there's also that, like sometimes you'll hear Sean or I mention about ownership rate. There's guys where like Geno Smith's been a pretty big play these last few weeks. We've been starting,
Yeah.
But it is something to pay attention to when a guy is going to be played in 70% of lineups. It's probably like, yeah, you can go ahead and do it because everybody else is going to score it, or you can try to be a little bit different and go a different route. Just pick somebody else.
Just take a gamble on it,
Yeah, exactly. Try to get somebody that's only in that 10 to 15% ownership rate. And a lot of times that's where those guys end up winning. They stack some guys or they stack a team. Like we saw a guy that had, Sean mentioned this a few weeks ago. I think what was the Dolphins that he stacked, Sean, is that right? Or the Lions. Either way, I can't quite remember.
I don't remember, but it was like everybody. It was like 4 players. The quarterback, a couple of receivers, and a tight end or something like that.
Yeah, and then he grabbed a couple or a wideout or something from the other team. And then he entered that lineup like 32 times or something like that into this tournament. Well, his lineup was the best lineup, so he was winning 1 through 32nd place, all that money.
I was in the $1 million maker too.
Yeah.
Dude,
so like that's what's fun about it. There are dudes that end up winning a lot of money, and like you look at their lineup, and it's not hard to do that. Like everybody has the money to do it. You just have to think to find that lineup that week. It's literally like playing the lottery, but I think you have a little bit of a better shot of winning some money.
For sure. Yeah, and I'll say like last year and then a couple of times early this year, Logan, he would make a lineup. I would make a lineup. Like usually there would be some overlap, but not everybody. And then we'd kind of like try to make them like intertwine, like a third lineup. And every week we pretty much played every player that was the right play, like throughout that, but just not in the same lineup.
Mm-hmm.
So we're finding the right players, just not getting them together on the same team at the right time. But this week, right now, since it's locked in, this week's lineup is Tua, Josh Jacobs, Alvin Kamara, Marquise Goodwin, Chris Olave, Jalen Waddle, Mike Gesicki, Wan'Dale Robinson, and the Panthers D. And we have $800 left over if we wanted to spend up somewhere.
Hold on. You said good Kamara, Goodwin.
Yep. And then Olave, Waddle.
Love that Olave pick.
Yep. Olave, Waddle, Gasecki, Dos Equis.
Gesicki to my stomach.
Gasecki to my stomach. Wandale Robinson, and then the Panthers D. That Robinson pick is somewhat iffy too. I just like the matchup more than anything.
I might do a second lineup eventually too, where we keep the Wandale and throw in a Daniel Jones and spend up in some other spots. Maybe still get Goodwin and stack that game a little bit.
Yep. Not a bad play. I mean, we don't usually spend up on running backs, and we did. We got Josh Jacobs and Alvin Kamara, and we usually hit our running back picks, and I feel these are solid this week.
They were last week, man. We definitely hit them last week with JJ and Austin Eckler.
I'll say that Goodwin and Robinson are both kind of like we're hoping for a couple of big plays out of those guys.
Yeah.
This is we're taking a little bit of a shock. There's going to be low ownership on those guys, most likely.
Some Hail Marys.
Yep. If they score, we're the only ones scoring.
Nothing wrong with that.
I will say this. I think another really good play this week would be Paris Campbell. He's cheaper than Alec Pierce. And if you actually look over the last few weeks, like Campbell's put up better numbers than Pierce, even though Pierce is getting all the recognition.
Really?
But with Matt Ryan out, all that could change.
All bets are off now.
I'm fading the Colts.
Yeah, probably would too.
Until we figure it out.
Hopefully, a good idea. We should do a thing, Sean, where we just we're already kind of doing it where we create our DFS lineups, but we keep a running pool on how much we're betting on it and how much we win or lose at the end of the year, just in that DFS in our 8-man out DFS teams. What was the plus minus at the end of the year?
Yeah, for sure. We should put the same lineup, which I know some people would say it's stupid, but put the same lineup in the double ups in a tournament.
Yes, I agree.
We win double ups. We're pretty good at finding guys who are going to have a solid floor. Sometimes we just miss on the ceiling.
Yeah. Yep. Let's do that. How much did we win last week? Did you say that you remembered? I had some politician knocking on my door. Not even about that noise. I said I'm doing a live show in here. You're gonna need to leave.
Listen, bro, do you want to be on my podcast or not?
So,
who are you starting this week at quarterback?
Yeah, so I played two different small tournaments, both with the same lineup, or I say small. One was small, and one was the $20 Millionaire Maker. So I spent $23 getting in the two tournaments and won 36. So a net of $13.
Dang.
Okay.
But I mean, if you could, I don't even know. I can't do that math right now. It's a 33% ROI?
So you bet 23?
Yep.
It was more than that, I would think. It's like a 50%, right? 56%.
Well, I don't know.
You won half of your money. You got half of your money. You doubled. Didn't double it, but you won half of it back.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Yep. So
that would be 50%. Because if you won $43 or whatever, and you won $23, then you would have done 100%.
Yep.
Of your money,
yep.
Right?
46, yeah, 23 to 46 would have been.
Yeah. Whatever. Sorry, my bad. I do math from 6 to 3. Yeah. That's it. Anything else is guesswork.
I feel it. Yeah. Same with me, man. My math stops at 5 o'clock, and I don't do any more.
All right, though, cool. We'll say plus $13. That's just how we'll do it. You know what we should do? We should take that $13, add it on to that 23 that you did. And I'll throw you some cash for this too. to go halfsies. But then we'll bet $36 this week.
Wait, I got $13.
We'll add $13 more to the pool.
Cool. That same lineup, you guys want to lock that lineup in, or we want to work on a different one?
We can lock that one in and then just kind of keep them. I like that one. I mean, we made it, so
Yeah.
and we don't have to. I guess we don't have to use all $36, but I would think that we could do like a couple of head-to-heads for $10 a piece, and then maybe a tournament for $15 or whatever.
Yeah, I like the single entry ones. There's a couple of single entry ones for $12 this week.
Mm-hmm.
So single entry, like one player?
Meaning I can only put one lineup in that.
I got you.
Some of the other tournaments you could put like 20 lineups in. Some of them
shit.
don't have a limit.
Gotcha.
So those ones that don't have a limit, you can use like computer generated systems, even if you have 20, right? And then you put in like a different model and it spits out all these different variations of lineups.
Yeah.
You're playing against computers at that point. So I try to avoid those.
Yeah.
But cool. Cool.
Cool. Yeah. So then basically we'll have $36 in. For this. Unless Mario gives you another $13, and
So do I need 26 or do I need 13?
you really don't even need anything, unless you just want in on this little thing. Essentially, Sean owns all 36 of those dollars right now.
Gotcha.
We could buy those dollars from Sean, for instance. We could split the 36 by 3,
We can
and
just
then
do
we
12.
could pay Sean $12, and then we all own a third of that stock now.
What's max payout there?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Max payout? Yeah, I mean, we could look that up, but I mean, with these specific tournaments, let's see. So this one, the top payout on this one of the double ups is a $10 double up, so you can win $20, right, off a $10 bet. One of the other ones, it's $100,000 for first place in the tournament.
Yeah.
The other tournament, that's a single entry. The first place is 20,000, and there's the difference there is just the number of people that you're competing against.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah. So like the one that you win 20,000 for first place, there's 19,000 people in it. The one that you can win a lot more, there's 440,000 people that'll be in it, and those will fill up too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I might just while I'm in here. There's a couple of 10 o'clock NBA games I'll probably play.
I know. I was looking at those last night. Like, maybe I should do another show. NBA.
Lakers are playing.
Yeah.
Not to go too far off, man, but I saw a headline that said, "Is this Lakers team the worst shooting team of all time?"
I would say so.
Shooting percentage wise, and so far it is.
Yeah.
That's
not.
crazy to say.
That is not far off at
Did
all.
we confirm, is this LeBron's last year or was that a fluke?
It is not his last year. Not until he plays with Bronny.
Yeah.
Oh, JR's calling me right now. Hold on. What's up, Jay?
What up?
Nothing. I'm doing the show right now with Mario and Sean.
What up, Jay?
So Jay,
What up, guys? I didn't know you was doing it. I'm just driving home from work. My bad.
No, you're all good. Sean and Mario, can you guys hear him?
Oh,
yeah, you're on the show, man.
You're on the show right now, Junior.
Welcome, bro. What do you got to say for yourself?
Guys.
You'd have to get on the YouTube link that Sean would have sent.
You don't even have to really get on YouTube or to watch it. Yeah, you do. But the
Yeah.
link Logan sent me, you can just join. They didn't even ask me for my email.
Yep.
I can't do all that while I'm driving.
Yeah, you probably shouldn't. Are you calling me about that trade?
Which one?
The one I offered
This
you.
one Sean sent me.
He said the bogus one Sean sent me? No, the one I sent you.
Man, I've been pretty busy today. Did you send it today?
Yeah.
Then no, I haven't saw it.
Okay.
But I mean, you can do it. We can do a blind reaction right now. I'll get on this fantasy app and drive. I don't give a damn.
Get on it. Yeah, let's see what you think. Well,
I
he's
will say, just for the record, the show does not condone looking at your phone while driving. Just for legal purposes, we have to say that.
he's allegedly driving.
Right, allegedly.
He's driving at the golfing range, bro.
Ooh,
Yeah, he's at the driving range.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah.
Ralphie, I'm gonna have to put this in the fucking bank fund.
What was the trade? Can we hear? Or
Well,
no?
what-
Tyreek, Gerald Everett, and Josh Jacobs in exchange for Gabe Davis, DeAndre Swift, and Mark Andrews.
Damn.
It's interesting. I've been
Damn.
trying to get it in all year.
I know, and I saw that. I think I was the only person that paid attention to your little likely to trade action that you did today.
Hey, Zach Ertz is available.
See if, I wanted to see what kind of nickels were out there.
Mm-hmm.
Tyreek, he's a guy that it's hard to trade, but he can bring a lot in, man. I.e., Mark Andrews.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about it.
And you're getting another wide receiver out of it. You're getting a running back who's coming back, obviously off of injury, but has very
Why
high
is
potential.
Tyreek the most traded player this year in our fantasy league? I
The only
started.
thing
it.
It's a good question, Mario. He said that Tyreek is the most traded player in the league this year. Why is that?
No, it's because he kicks girls in the face.
Yeah, that's a good reason. I think it's just because he's got a lot of value and people can trade him to get a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? That's all. That's really
He has
all
so
I would
much
say.
value. Why are we so easy to give him up, though?
Because people are getting things out of it.
You
Like,
you got an upgraded quarterback.
yeah, people's
Did
teams
I?
have gotten
Did I?
better.
Did I? I don't think so.
You had Matt Stafford, bro.
Not
Yeah,
after,
you
not
did.
after he left Sean's quarterback club.
But
Yeah.
Jay, you need to request a trade back and get rid of one of your or both of your quarterbacks, bro. Or keep them and take another L this week to me.
I can only hear Logan that well. What did Sean say?
Sean was suggesting for you to try to get a different quarterback.
Oh, I know. I'm hunting down that as well. Herbert's been a lackluster year, and my number two's been kind of a revolving door.
Mm-hmm.
Ever since I let Lawrence go, I traded him to Drake.
And you traded him to Sean.
All right, yeah.
Yeah.
Sean, I traded Drake to
Yeah, you got Trevor from Drake, didn't you? Or something like that. I forget how that went down, but yeah, we've gone through it. Sean's got a quarterback club that he's not telling anybody about, and that's why all his quarterbacks keep going off.
Really?
Yeah,
Quarterback whisper, man.
What do I got to do to join that club?
I don't know. Find his LinkedIn. He probably charges a few bucks a month. All right, though, JR, I'm gonna let you go here. We're gonna finish up this show. I'll give you a call back in a minute.
Okay, bye.
All right, that was fun. Had a little call in from Jay.
Yep.
He seemed interested in that trade. I think it'll take a little bit of workings, maybe, but
I was shaking my head no because just the tone of his voice changed when he was reading through that. I think he is interested. Yeah, he just I think it's going to be tough to give up Tyreek. He doesn't want to split up. I mean, those three wide receivers are 2, 3, and 4, and I get it, but he's got no quarterbacks.
that would give him the number 2 tight end, though, too. And he's got some good wide receivers that he can slide into the flex and deal with.
Yep.
So I don't know. We'll see. I like the trade. Hopefully, I don't really have like I hope he does it. I hope he doesn't do it. I actually think like as far as like trade value goes, I'm getting the. It's a good deal for both teams, but I would say that I'm getting the lower value. And I think as far as like ESPN goes, they said I was getting the lower value too. But that's probably mostly on the Mark Andrews thing, just because it's the tight end position is just a little volatile.
And Tyreek, I think a little bit too plays a factor a little bit there.
Kind of a question mark in a way, or
Yeah.
I would say they don't account for the fact that we are in 8-man league as far as those projections and the value there. Because when we looked at the who's who, you see Travis Kelce is basically another top wide receiver.
Yeah.
Mark Andrews is like another kind of higher end, but not at the very top wide receiver. And then everyone else is a tight end. So having one of those is such an advantage in an 8-man league.
Yeah.
Every week, if you look across the board, you are winning that position.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think having Mark Andrews is huge. It would make his team a lot better. Having Mark Andrews here.
Yeah. I think it would too. We'll see. Well, I think he's going to think about it. And he might have a counter too. So that'll obviously come next week if we have any sort of update on that. Let's get to the pick 2. Get to moving a little bit. Mario, we're going to let you play this week too as a guest. Sean, Sean, you're cool with that?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Do I got to pay money?
No.
Good, I ain't got it.
Actually, yeah.
I don't got it until the season's over.
As far as last week went, Sean won the pick 2 by a score of 69. Nice. To 34.
I love that number.
The exact score was actually 69.7 to 34.3. Sean went off this week. He had Austin Eckler with 36.7 points and Jamar Chase at 33.
Jesus.
Right. Couldn't pick any much better.
Is there a better pick out there? I don't think there is. I mean, unless you pick Jamar Chase and Joe Burrows or something. Can you pick a quarterback or no?
Not for that.
Yeah, we had positions that we had to pick from.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so you had to pick from running back and wide receiver, and I do think that those were the top 2 scoring in that position last week. And then I rode Mario's team heavy, even though I'm bumping it back in the power rankings. I had his running back and his wide receiver and Derrick Henry and Devontae Adams. Derrick Henry having a good game, scoring 16.8. Devontae Adams having also a good game at 17.5, but obviously not into the 30s.
Yeah, so that is correct. Those were the top picks positionally.
That's what I figured.
Yep.
That takes the competition to all square at 3-3 for the year for me and Sean. What positions? I'll tell you what. Let's let Mario pick the positions this week since he's the guest of the week. He's number 1. Like Nelly said,
I am number 1.
Yeah, let's let him pick the positions for the week. Mario, what do you want to go with? You want to go with you can do any 2 positions, no defenses.
No defenses.
So quarterback, running back, or running back, wide receiver, or running back, tight end, or
I'm definitely gonna throw a tight end in there because that switches it up a little bit because they're not too big, but if they are big, they're pretty big. And then I'm gonna go quarterback, tight end and quarterback.
All right.
Damn, now I got to go off the dome here.
Sean, we did not choose a quarterback or a tight end last week. And remember, with our new rule involved, we can only pick those guys one time.
Oh.
And how did you want to do that, Sean? What did you think? Do you think that we should only pick them one time until they're chosen again by everyone else? Or is it just one time?
You can only pick them one time.
Okay. I'm down with that too. That it keeps it easier, then we don't have to keep track as much.
Yeah.
Just you pick them, you're done with them. So Mario, that's essentially what's going to happen if you ever want to play in the pick 2 again with us. Whenever you pick a player, he's no longer allowed to be picked by you again for the entire year. So, for instance, if you pick Josh Allen this week, next time we do quarterbacks, you cannot pick Josh Allen.
Gotcha.
We can, but you couldn't. So that's how that goes. So we're going to do a quarterback, tight end.
Doing it that way, is it okay that if there's overlap then? Because usually if you and I pick the same like person, we neither of us get them. But since we can only pick them once moving forward, does it matter?
That's a good question.
Because eventually we won't be able to pick the same players.
Right. I think that it should be allowed to create overlap.
All right, cool.
Do you?
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I'm locked in.
That's the one that I get. That's the answer that comes to me off the top of my head. Maybe if we change our mind, we'll figure something else out. But okay, let's make our picks. I'll play this music for 10 or 15 seconds while we make our quarterback type picks.
Mario, you down with the COD?
Oh, I already got it loaded up.
Rotting Cobb, baby.
I already got it loaded up. I was going to ask you guys that. I didn't know if it was
My favorite day
appropriate.
of
I
the
was going
week.
to send a text later.
Favorite day of the week. I'm COD day.
Rotting Cobb.
By the way, my picks are again going to be the number 1 and number 1. I have a feeling there's overlap.
Yeah, I think that there will be too.
Especially at the tight end position. I think we all three picked the same tight end.
Oh,
All right.
man.
What do you guys have? I don't have to show you. I know you'll believe me. So
Yeah. I went Kyler and Ertz.
Ooh.
Kyler and Ertz. Whoa, he stacked them.
I did. They got a juicy matchup with Minnesota this week too.
That could be a high scoring game. Mario, who'd you have?
I'm going. I'm sticking with my team, and I'm going Kittle and Derek Carr.
Whoa.
Derek Carr and Adams are about to have a game. I'm telling you, they need one, and it's just got to be that Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase situation.
And you know what? That's a high over under game to pick it in, and you got Derek Carr out of the way. You don't have to pick him again.
Yeah,
He could have a real big game. Great picks.
hopefully.
This is funny. We actually have zero whatever.
Let me
whatever
in a factor.
I've got Jalen Hurts and Mark Andrews.
Yeah.
Like I'm going with
You went with your
team.
team. He went with his team. I just went with the top picks.
Yeah. You're going with your team, or not your own little team.
Yeah.
And maybe Andrews isn't on my team by the time Sunday comes around with that trade. But
Yeah, we'll see.
I don't know. Send me something
that'll
juicy. Maybe it won't be.
that'll be fun. It'll be fun to have 3 people in the mix. We should start laying down like $5 a week on that. If we can get
Because I got Kittle too, man. I'm willing to give him up. You know.
Or something.
To get you the predictions for this week, we'll start to wrap up the show here. Last week, we mentioned this earlier. Sean and I both went 4-0. We had the exact same picks for all 4 games.
Wow.
We haven't done that yet this year.
That was a week to do it too. It was a weird week for everybody. I mean,
Yeah.
that's tough.
And it's funny too. I mean, like I said, I keep bumping you down in the power rankings, but I picked you to win last week, and I
get it.
picked you to win in this week too.
I get. Hey, well, because of who I'm playing. Come on, bro. Come on, mommy chasers. That should be easy for me.
It should be, as long as your defense can stick around. Bob's been putting up points.
Shout out Rob. I ain't knocking him. He's probably about to put up some numbers this week. But
He has
like I
been.
said, here I come.
Dak is back.
Dak is back. Bob's been putting up some points. We'll go to that one. We'll do first. I'll touch on this. Sean's 15-9 on the year on his predictions. That brought me to 11-13.
Nice.
On the 4-0 week. But yeah, we'll just get into that game first. Sir Mix-a-Lot versus Mommy Chasers. Mario versus Bob. Sean, who you got?
I'm playing the contrarian pick here. I'm going Mommy Chasers.
Oh, damn, that
Sorry,
hurts
Mario.
in the soul, bro.
I'm sorry, Mario.
I told you my team's about to start stepping up. Well, they've just been toying with people now.
I know, but listen, Dak is back.
Dak's not back, bro.
I could see he is, and I could see Robert's team ripping off some wins.
I can too. I think.
I mean, he's got. I mean, if you look at like the projected leaders, I know I've dropped my screen, but Dak, CeeDee Lamb, and Deebo Samuel. I mean, just that core right there is just solid.
Yeah.
Great
They
core.
they haven't proved it yet, but they are solid.
I want to mention this about Robert's team and Deebo Samuel. I think he takes a little bit of a dip with Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah.
I don't think he gets those handoffs anymore. I think those go to Christian McCaffrey.
That would have to. I mean, or Christian McCaffrey's lining up a receiver, and they both play like almost the same position, pretty much. They both do the same thing each other does,
Yep.
Which is good. It's deadly for San Francisco, but is it deadly for the fantasy team?
Yeah,
deadly for fantasy.
And that's what I was meaning, more so for fantasy points.
Yeah.
I think that Deebo's ceiling just got lowered a little bit.
Yeah, I could see that 100%.
I could see his floor kind of sticking around where it is anyway, because he's going to always get that work. But
yeah,
the ceiling, the upside kind of went down a little bit and went into C-Mac. But for that game, I do have Mario, Sir Mix-a-Lot taking the win. Great fucking name again, Mario.
Thank you.
But I got Mario winning that game. Who do you got, Mario? Who are you going to take?
I got to take me. I'm not knocking mommy chasers. I may talk a little shit, but I'm projected to win. I got the team to do it. They can put up them numbers, and as long as everybody comes to play, I think I got it easy.
Okay, right on. I like that. Next game, Logan's mom versus Wilson. Drake versus Logan. Mario, who you got in that game?
Drake's coming off a tough week. I feel like he may struggle still a little bit here. He's got McCaffrey. I got to go Wilson here. I think you get your head back on your shoulders a little bit here, and I think you take it here.
Awesome. I love that pick. Sean, what about you? Who you got in that game?
Well, you know what? It's a revenge game. The name that started it all, Logan's mom.
Yeah.
Started off that nice start for Drake. And you know what? I think it's a curse of not making any trades. He's losing again, and Wilson's taking the win.
There you go.
All right, boys. I love it. I love the freaking confidence. I got Drake in this game, though. I think Drake wins.
Collusion.
Yeah, I'm going to steal my players. No, I just think that I think McCaffrey actually gets his feet under him a little bit more in the offense this week and gets a full week of practice in him. And he didn't even get a full week last week, and he still was involved a lot.
What did he get, 2 days?
Yeah, and probably half of that first day was spent getting his fucking equipment and shit. Like,
and meeting the people and greeting everybody,
Yeah, having to do, paperwork stuff, as they call it.
Because he has his own, special cleats, So they had to get those over there.
That's a good. I meant to ask you guys that. I know I asked you guys that through text message the other day. Does he keep his helmet that he used with the Panthers and just bring a new one? Do they issue him a new one? My dad had a good thought. The helmet creator probably has Christian McCaffrey specs.
Sure, 100%. Well,
make you a new helmet.
Yeah. I've read it or saw a thing that's after you win the Super Bowl, after your season, you play with the team. Do you keep your helmet? They're like, well, they make us buy it or whatever. It's like $500 or whatever. So I think he definitely keeps his helmet.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he keeps it mainly. The reason I think that is, it was Antonio Brown made a big deal about them making him switch his helmet, and he didn't want to, or something like that.
I think I remember something like that now that you mentioned.
So I think that because, remembering that, I think that they get to keep him.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just something. Never mind. We won't go down to Antonio Brown, Kanye West conversations.
Anyway, back to the
collab on a song.
I got Drake. I think that Christian McCaffrey finds his footing. I think Barkley in that Seahawks game has a good game. It'll just be a little hard to compete with. He's got a couple players in that Dolphins and Lions game, which is the high over under. And I just don't know if I have enough firepower to keep up with him. So I got Drake in that one. Third game, Florida Sunshines versus Scary Pitts, JR versus Sean. I'll go through mine first. I got Florida Sunshines winning that game, Sean. What about you? Who you got?
I'm not betting against myself ever again, even though I'm going against the 3 of the top 4 best receivers in the league. I'm betting on myself.
Right on. I like the confidence there. Mario, who you got in that game?
The way Sean come out and played against Drake, I tell you what, he killed it. And I mean that's almost unbeatable. And with that being said, I'm taking JR.
The winner of that game is going to have to score 160 points again.
Yeah, the numbers are going to have to be up, and I think JR's team's about to stun out. It's going to be JR.
I hope that happens. I hope he scores 200.
No, that's tough. Not me. No. That's tough to see in the playoffs, or you see like Damon's team, he puts up numbers. And me, I'm just squeaking by, and it's just I hate to see that.
I think that maybe that's why Sean was saying he wants JR to put up 200 now, so he doesn't put up 200 in a few weeks if he plays in the playoff.
Well,
Get it out of the way.
Yep.
So yeah, I got JR in that game, like I said. Then we'll get to the cream of the crop for this week, the Grilling Dad Game of the Week. Sean, take it down.
Yeah, man. This week's the Grilling Dad Game of the Week is the GOATs. It's Damon going against Olave Nether, and that's Devin. And to me, this is the game of the week because of the playoff implications, very similar to last week. These guys, I think they're going to both end up being really close to that final playoff spot, finishing 4 and 5. So I think that it's going to come down to this matchup here. Because of that, I think that both managers are going to be playing some really good ball, leading their teams out there. And you know what? He made a good move dropping Aaron Rodgers, but the GOAT, Tom Brady, is still weighing his team down. So going with Olave Nether.
Okay. All right. Mario, who you got in that game?
that's tough. I think Damon's team is gonna, show out. But I'm gonna place my bet on Olave Nether. I'm gonna take the underdog here, I think, and I think it's gonna get the W and make Damon go 2 losses in a row.
Yeah, Sean had mentioned it too. This does have big playoff implications. Olave Nether sitting at 3 and 4. The GOATs sitting at 4 and 3. The GOATs have only outscored Olave Nether by what looks like 23 points. So if Devin could beat Damon this week by 23 or more points, he would actually take that ranking above Damon as well.
Yeah.
And something else to point out, like we were talking about the playoff percentages. Right now, Devin has a 46% chance at making the playoffs. Damon has a 57% chance of making the playoffs.
Wow.
I believe that switches and maybe a little more in whoever's favor. Like if Devin beats Damon, those switch and Devin's probability even goes up a little more than what 57 is with Damon's. So big playoff implications there. I love that pick, Sean, for the Grilling Dad Game of the Week. If you guys need any grilling tips, anything like that, grills, getting food, go to grillinggdad.com. I do have Damon, so I'll be the lone wolf riding with Damon this week. I think he had a down week, and that'll turn into an up week.
Definitely.
And he's getting all his guys back too. So I think he gets back up into that 140 to 150 range, and Devin's going to have to score a lot of points to overcome that. I don't see it happening. So
Also, if I can add in my game, Robert's got Travis Kelce out. That's huge.
it's really big.
That's huge.
Robert needs a tight end, everybody.
Hey.
Sean just picked him up.
My bad.
Yes, damn. Robert's
I will
big.
say that the other really cool thing about it, there's no Monday night games as of right now, depending on who Devin picks up for his defense, but he does have a Sunday night game with Josh Allen, who could put up 40 points. So it's going to be really fun to watch that one.
That would be
So-
fun. That would be fun.
So nobody has a Monday night game on their lineup next week? Is that what you're saying?
In that game.
Oh, okay, in that game. Cool. Right on. So we should know Sunday depending on depending on defense. Then.
I mean, Damon still has somebody on his bench. Has a Monday night. Sean
Okay.
Watson's still sitting there.
Well, he's not playing until week 11, so
What a waste of a roster spot. Nobody would have picked him up.
yeah, I wouldn't have. I mean, didn't have no room on my team.
He ain't making the cut. Like,
I should cut my whole team anyway. Only sign players that are.
I
suspended.
agree. I agree.
After you trade me Mark Andrews and Jalen Hurts, go ahead.
I'll send you guys some trade offers for Mark Andrews. I'll put the pressure on JR a little bit too and let him know, hey, flea market sale on Mark
Hey.
Andrews. Dude.
As soon as I saw Sean's trade that morning I woke up, accept, bro. I didn't even hesitate. Didn't think about it, nothing.
You
It
can't
was a
think
good
of
one.
You send me something good, it's going,
Oh, I'm like that. I'm like
Yeah.
that too. I'll hit accept. I barely even think about it. Sometimes to a fault.
the more you think about it, the more you just get in your own way. If it's a good trade, makes your team better, just do it.
I thought about it for 15 minutes. I was like, screw it. Let's do it.
You can talk yourself out of anything. It's hard to talk yourself into something.
Yep.
So, right on, dudes.
Hey, y'all, thanks
Peace
for
out.
having me.
Mario, thanks for coming tonight, man.
Fantasy Ballers. I'll be here next week. If I win, if I lose, it's a maybe.
Okay. All right, dude. Peace.
Yeah.